Yep, it's cracking. What's popping? What's popping? What we on today? I know we got to got to give everybody a little chance to get here. Back in my element. How I sound? Everything good? Hmm. Interesting. I wonder why that's the case. Is X down again? Do y'all know? Hmm. Why is that happening? What's going on? I don't know what's happening. I don't know why it's not allowing me to. I don't know. For some reason, my account isn't allowing me to go live on X. That's why I was asking. I don't know what's going on. That's not going to work though. That's not going to work. We got to get that right. I don't know what's happening. Bear with me. Yeah. X been tweaking bad today. Like no cap. Like real bad. My apologies, man. I'm trying to see why this is not working, bro. It's not letting me. I don't know what's happening. Fuck it. We got to move on. We got to move on. We got to move on. Let me see if it'll allow me to go live here. Actually, I don't even know how you can go live on X for real. I know nothing about it. I know how to go live on this. Yeah, bloody, I agree. It really was. It was a grind, bro. It was a grind for sure. Like I don't know. I don't really know what happened with X. I heard. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Anonymous, but I heard Anonymous got him. I heard Anonymous clipped him. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how true it is that Anonymous clipped him, but that's just what I heard. I don't know how true it is though, but they've been very vocal since the election. Anonymous has. So I heard that was a. Let's try this one more time. Mm, there we go. I don't know what was happening. I'm sorry. For everybody that's watching on YouTube and Twitch, I apologize. I apologize. I don't know what was going on, but now we have to give everybody like at least like 5 minutes to get in, 5 to 6. But we got a lot to go over. My apologies. I don't know what was going on. but it just simply wasn't allowing me to go live on X, and that's just not going to work. That's not going to cut it, unfortunately. And now I don't even know if people have access to get on it. Some technical difficulties tonight, and it's all stemming from X, bro. It's all stemming from X. That's been the theme of the day. That's been the theme of the day, for real, for real. I haven't heard anything about it. I just figured it went down because everybody was looking at Diddy shit. Nah, twin. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I think you know why it went down. It went down because it's NFL, one of the best days in NFL in the season of NFL. Legal tampering began today. So you know what time it was. They just I actually I don't know. It was just extremely weird, bro. It was just extremely, extremely weird. Let me give everybody like 3 or 4 more minutes to get in. For the ones that are already here, appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciate y'all hopping on. Got a lot to go through. A lot to go through. I know a lot of y'all were upset by today. I'm not gonna lie, I was too. That whole Milton Williams joint. I was sick for like an hour and a half. My stomach was hurting a little bit. I'm not gonna even lie to y'all. I'm not here to sit here and lie to y'all. But yeah, we'll go through all of the signings. I'll kind of give some feedback, whatever the case may be. Give my thoughts. I want to hear y'all's thoughts too as well. Y'all know I like making this very interactive. So I definitely, I definitely want to hear what y'all got to say, because I seen on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I seen a lot of people upset. Initially, but then things picked up. And even Dunk said it, like, just to give perspective. I think last year, the first day of legal tampering, the Carolina Panthers didn't make their first move officially until they signed Robert Hunt at like 3:30 p.m. on the first day. And I mean, we were able to restructure our whole offensive line last year, even starting so late. So, I mean, I love the activity. And unfortunately, like, not diving too far into the Milton Williams thing, just because I want to like give people a little bit more time to get in. But unfortunately, he just simply was never getting $26 million from us. He just simply wasn't. Like, when you look at it, it's not really conducive with what we're trying to do. And we appreciate your time. We appreciate you giving us the opportunity to make our pitch, etc. But we just couldn't pay him that much. But we'll dive into it a little bit more, like I said. If you're new here, thank you for being here. This is Move to Change with JJ. As y'all see on the bottom down below right there, for Panthers fans only, that's the podcast that I am the host of, along with my co-host Terrence, my producer Tavian. We have our full team. If you see anything going on crazy on X, on Twitter, that's our content manager Dylan. Shout out to him. He was part of the team. And then we have our strategic advisor down in Orlando. So yeah, we got a nice little team going. If you haven't already, I don't know if first and foremost, if you're not tapped in on social media, that's the first thing that you need to do. Let's handle all the housekeeping items first. First thing you need to do, look down below, right down here, all of these. Go tap in with us on all platforms, all DSPs, all social media platforms, etc. We're on Threads as well. We haven't added it, but we're on Threads. Not as active. The main things that I would tell y'all to follow is the X, the Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then, I mean, it's kind of, up to you what you want to do in regards to the DSPs, but those are the three that you definitely need to be tapped in with us on, because that's where we, give all of our news. You're able to interact with people from the team, et cetera, and stay up to date on what we're doing. March 14th. If y'all haven't seen that date yet, that means that y'all aren't tapped in with us on social media, and that's what y'all need to do. So I'm going to give y'all 20 seconds to do that. Go follow us everywhere right now. Everywhere you see right here, go tap in, go lock in, go follow us right now. We got big things coming up. March 14th, March 14th. Lock the date in. Lock the date in March 14th. I can't wait. That's all I'm telling y'all. That's all I'm saying. March 14th, I cannot wait because we're up. March 14th, we go up. March 14th, we go up. So lock that date in because you just if y'all trust me, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan and y'all trust me at all, just know March 14th, you don't want to miss March 14th and what we have going on. Now, will you be able to do whatever you're going to do after March 14th? Obviously, but why wouldn't you want to be one of the first ones to, interact with what's going on? Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to be one of the first ones? Why wouldn't you want to be the trendsetter? You know what I'm saying? Cool. Shout out everybody in the chat. QJ said he called Dan Morgan everything but a child of God. Yeah, I mean, got Tavian in the chat. Was popping. Shout out to our producer Tavian in the chat. Yeah. All right, let's get into it, man. It's been enough time. I was running like 5 or 6 minutes behind already, so we'll just get into it. We'll get into it. Where do y'all want to start, though? Do y'all want to start with today, or do y'all want to like kind of rewind, go back in time a little bit? Actually, let's rewind and go back in time a little bit, bro. Just a little bit, and then we'll go to the free agent news from today. DK and Devontae Adams. Unfortunately, and this is the thing that I need Carolina Panthers fans to realize and understand, bro. There's just certain prices that we're not in a position to pay. We're not. Now, do I believe that we could have paid Devontae Adams whatever what was it, 24, 25, $26 million a year? Yeah, I do believe that. But also, I think the Carolina Panthers kind of have a plan in place. We heard Dan Morgan talking about, the defense at the combine and the lack of talent that he provided EJ with last offseason. We've been understanding and we've been knowing what time it was from a defensive standpoint. So, yes, I'm just like y'all in the sense that I want that big, fast, true superstar wide receiver one. I do. I'm not here to lie to y'all. I do. I want that. But at the end of the day, there's just certain prices that we're not able to pay. We're not able to pay it. And I believe that we were in on the DK Metcalf sweepstakes all the way up until the deal was made with Pittsburgh. But unfortunately, Pittsburgh was able to pay a price and willing to pay a price that we just simply weren't willing to and weren't able to. We just simply didn't want to do it. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Like, just very, very brief and touching it very quick because, like, at this point, it's old news and we just got to move on. We just got to move on. Same thing with Slayton. I know that the fan base was kind of hot and cold on that one. I would say probably 30% of the fan base, based on what I saw on X and just other social media platforms, I think maybe 30% wanted Slayton and thought that he would add a little something to the wide receiver room. And I would say 70% were just extremely overwhelmed. I was kind of one that was like literally right down the middle. I was pretty much indifferent because I don't think that Darius Slayton comes into your wide receiver room and becomes receiver number one. However, I don't believe that this wide receiver room is good enough for you to just to pass up on talent should it become available to you at a cheap price. And I think Darius Slayton's price was relatively cheap. I know he ended up signing back with the Giants. Let me see what his official number was. What was his official number? So 3 years, $36 million a year, $12 million a year. I mean, y'all let me know. Would y'all be willing to pay that for Darius Slayton? 3 years, $36 million, $13 million a year. I don't know. Oh, Tavian Burner's in the building. Oh, my God. Never mind. Let me just keep it to myself. Facts. Facts, Dylan. Everybody in the building, man. The whole squad in the building tonight. Whole squad in the building tonight, man. Hey, y'all text me if y'all want to hop on, bro. Y'all text me if y'all want to hop on. I don't know if y'all prepared or not, but whole squad in the building tonight. Y'all want one-on-one interactions with the team, whole squad in the chat on YouTube right now. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, subscribe too. While y'all are at it, like, comment, subscribe. While y'all are at it, whole squad in the chat right now. Let me see. So DK and Devontae, yeah, I wasn't too moved by that. Also, I'm gonna say this too. I don't think that really. I don't think Devontae Adams really moves me. Like, don't get me wrong. I think he's a phenomenal receiver, but at the end of the day, I believe he has maybe 2 years max, and I don't. I really just don't believe that's what we're looking for. I don't. I think if you look at all of the names that have been tied to the Carolina Panthers as it pertains to receiver ones, you look at DK Metcalf, you look at T. Higgins, you look at Garrett Wilson, you look at, well, maybe not Darius Slayton so much, but those three, DKT and Garrett Wilson, those three in particular, they're just extremely young. They're all very, very young. DK just got his contract extension with Pittsburgh. They gave him $30 million a year. It's another situation where we just ain't willing to pay that price, bro. And it wasn't necessarily the picks that Pittsburgh gave up. It was the fact that, in my opinion, this is not confirmed, but this is what I believe, and I feel like 90% of y'all probably believe and agree with it. But it wasn't the fact that we didn't want to give up the picks. It's more so about the fact that, unfortunately, we just can't pay you $30 million a year. We just can't do it. Like, and do I believe that DK Metcalf is a phenomenal talent? Do I believe that he is a true wide receiver one in the NFL? Absolutely. But like I was telling Tavian the other day, he ain't Jettas. He ain't Jamar. He ain't CD. It's going to be very, very hard for me personally to be willing to pay a receiver not name those three names upwards of $30 million a year. It's going to be very difficult for JJ. It's going to be difficult for me. I don't know how y'all feel. I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. But for me personally, it's going to be very hard for me to do it, bro. It is. And it's crazy because my tonality has changed a little bit because I like Terrence and them will swear that I said that Deontay Johnson should get somewhere in that range of Jetta's money and shit like that. I never said that. I said that you could pay Deontay Johnson, like, I don't even remember the exact number, but it never got as high as 30. I know that for a fact. It never got as high as 30. Ever. Ever. Yeah, it is documented. They can go back and look. I never said anything about $30 million or nor Deontay Johnson being worth $30 million. It just never happened. If the names Jettas, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and who else? I would have to think very, very hard for me to find another receiver that I'd be willing to pay $30 million or more if I'm the Carolina Panthers. I'm not lying. I'm being honest. I'm not lying at all. I'm just telling the folks the truth. All right, let's get into it. So I'm just going to cover a couple of things that happened before today, and then we'll dive fully in on today. So we signed Austin Corbett back. I guess I'll touch on that for like 2 or 3 minutes. Then we started last week on Move to Change with talking about Austin Corbett and the faulty fake news report that Dave Newton dropped about him not wanting to be a competitor. Austin Corbett came out, immediately shot that shit down. And then 4 or 5 days later, signs a contract, 1-year deal, $3 million total, $745,000 signing bonus, 1.255 in base salary. That's fully guaranteed. And then the $2 million is total guaranteed. And then 58,000, a little closer to 59,000 per game active roster bonus. So yeah, we're paying a nigga to stay healthy. That's number one. Number two is like, yeah, I think that we can all agree. And I never really wanted to make it feel like I thought that Austin Corbett was just a nobody or that he just wasn't a crucial part to what this offensive line became last year. And like I didn't feel like he made us better. I never wanted to take that stance. My stance was always like, there's only so much that Austin Corbett can demand when he's had 2 season-ending injuries in back-to-back years. That was my only point last week when we talked about Austin Corbett. And I think that this deal, a 1-year deal for $3 million, like $3 million total, X amount in incentives, whatever the case may be. I think that this is a organizational friendly deal. That's number one. Number two, I believe it's fair for Austin Corbett because, like, bro, yeah, we unfortunately we can't. Again, same situation as the DK, same situation as some of these other things like the Milton Williams situation. Unfortunately, we can't pay that money. We can't pay you no more than $3-4 million max, and we settle for $3 million. I believe he deserves it. I believe that this team and the offensive line in particular is better with Austin Corbett being on the roster. So I was happy to see it. And then K Mays, we brought him back as well. Utility piece. Think it was 3.2. Yeah, 3.26 for K Mays. So that was just with them placing the tender on him, placing the restricted free agent tender. So yeah, cool. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on FPFO, this was like one of the main priorities for me. And I will tell y'all that I'm extremely ecstatic that the Carolina Panthers have taken the approach that they've taken, because I want to say priority 1A, and I'm sure Dylan and them and Tavian and Terrence will call me out if I'm capping, but I believe priority 1A was get JC Horn re-signed, and I believe priority 1B for me personally was to get K Mays signed and bring him back. If I'm not mistaken, y'all let me know if I'm capping, or let me know if I'm misremembering, or so to say. But yeah, I think that's another great deal. It gives you that depth. That's what we talk about on FPFO all the time. And move to change. Look, I knew he was going to be hating. I don't even know why. I don't even know why I even asked you for a reference. I don't even know why I asked you for a reference for real. But you made me lose my train of thought, bro. Messing with you. Excuse me. Oh, I know where I was going. I was saying that what we talk about on FPFO as well as Mood to Change all the time is that the Carolina Panthers need more depth. When you see a lot of these teams that are successful, whether it be the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it be the Philadelphia Eagles, whether it be like the lack thereof with Detroit, when you go look at some of these teams, bro, and the depth that they have, that is the reason why they're able to be good. Because everybody wants to holler about next man up and this and that and this and that, until the next man actually really, really got to step up. And then if you're the Carolina Panthers, like last year, you're rolling out, 58, 59, 60 different roster combinations, because we just simply don't have the depth, and we just simply don't have nothing more than just Jags on the roster. That's facts. So there were a lot of depth moves made today, which again we'll touch on. But I like the K Mays. I like the K Mays decision to bring him back. I think he adds a lot to this offensive line. He can damn near play every single position on the offensive line, left tackle all the way through to right tackle. So yeah, it's an extremely valuable piece to have. It is an extremely valuable piece to have for sure. And like Dylan said, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. K really could become the starter for real, for real. If you just look at what K Mays did in the 8 games that he started, and look at the way that he gelled with Dane, look at the way that he gelled with Rob, from an interior standpoint. Yeah, Austin Corbett got his hands full this summer. Because if I'm Dave Canales and the coaching staff, hey, bro, I just want to be 100% honest with you. I don't want you to feel like or believe that you just have this job locked up. If I'm talking to Austin Corbett, but again, that's just me. But that's the conversation I'm having with him, because I'm not even 100% convinced that Carolina doesn't go center in the draft. I'm not even 100% convinced of that for real. So yeah, Austin Corbett has his hands full for sure. He damn sure does. Terrence say I know JC was 1A. I don't know about K. I honestly don't know. I think that it was 1B. I think it was 1B, but then again, I mean, y'all know how my memory gets sometimes, so who knows? Doug, what's happening? Shout out to What's Up Doug in the chat. Of course, not everybody had a hard time believing it was this and that. Cool. Not everybody had a hard time believing. Got it. Don't worry about it. I understand. But yeah, so we got Austin Corbett, got Cade Mays back as well. Tommy Tremble came back. This was something that kind of puzzled me a little bit. I'll be honest, and it only puzzled me because I think like the day before Evan Ingram got released. I think like the day before Tommy Tremble signed his deal, Evan Ingram got released, and I just knew that Evan Ingram was a Carolina Panther. Maybe that was wishful thinking. I don't know. It could have been. I'm not here to lie again. It could have been wishful thinking, but I just knew something in my body just told me Evan Ingram was a Carolina Panther. But, they decided to bring Tommy Tremble back on a 2-year deal, and it kind of makes sense just because I feel like if you look at the rest of the league and how they're viewing Tommy Tremble in his 3 or 4 or 5 years, I don't even know how long he's been here. What, 3 or 4 years now? He ain't really been on nothing. I told y'all from honestly day one of FPFO this past season that Tommy Tremble was a Dave Canales guy, just based on the way that they were talking about him last April and May, and the amount of utilization he was supposed to get, and how they, the plans that they had for him in the red zone, et cetera, et cetera. So it made sense, I guess, to bring him back because I don't believe that Dave Canales and his offense really had the opportunity to utilize Tommy Tremble the way they wanted. Because if you think back, he had the injury to start the year off. Then he got stretched against Chicago, and then he was out 3 or 4 weeks at that point, and it just really never got the opportunity really to gel with this new offense and kind of show his impact on what he or what his impact could be fully, just due to injuries. So I guess it kind of makes sense. I was kind of surprised that it was a 2-year deal, but I mean we've seen a lot of those today. A lot of 2-year deals, a lot of just multi-year deals. Not really any, I don't think, 1-year deals. Let me see if I'm tripping. I don't think we've seen any 1-year deals this whole offseason with the exception of Austin Corbett. And that wasn't even really necessarily a deal. But yeah, as I'm looking at my notes, everybody has signed for multiple years, which I like. I'm cool with it. Like, bro, you need some consistency. Year after year, we can't keep continue to have all of this turnover. It just can't happen. It's not conducive with winning football. It's just not. It's just not. Q said, I think we're going offense at the 8th pick. I mean, to be quite honest, I don't see why you don't after what we did today on that side of the ball, and then just what I believe that we're going to continue to do. Like, y'all see what time it is. And we'll talk about it, but y'all see what time it is. Last year, the main focus was fixing the offensive line, right? That was like focus 1A. If we talking about 1A and 1B, focus 1A was fixing the offensive line, whereas focus 1B was just fixing the offense overall. This year is very, very clear that priority 1A for the Carolina Panthers heading into the offseason in a legal tampering period was to fix the D-line. That was 1A. And then fix the defense overall being 1B. But to be honest, if you continue down this path, if you're the Carolina Panthers and you continue to add depth at different positions, I don't necessarily know if I'm upset or mad about you potentially going offense at 1-8. We talked about it last week that if Tet is available, then I already told y'all what time it is with JJ. If Tet is available, because everybody wants a true wide receiver 1. Hey, there he go right there, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think that's your true wide receiver 1 right there. And you're getting him on a cheap deal. So it ain't no $30 million like we would be looking at with DK. It's not a trade situation where you have to go where you have to, give up valuable assets, whether we're talking about DK, whether you're talking about Garrett, whether you're talking about T. You're not having to do all of that if Tet is available, and that's your wide receiver 1 right there. That's your wide receiver one right there. Now, you know, the conversation about about Xavier Leggett will be had on FPFO. By the way, I don't know if y'all remember, or I don't know. There's probably a couple of y'all that just simply weren't on the stream last week. For Panthers Fans Only podcast will be returning next Tuesday at 9 a.m. So there's that. We will be returning March. I don't even know. What is it? It's 18th, 17th, 18th, something like that. Whatever that Tuesday is next week. Actually, I guess I could do some simple math, right? March 18th. March 18th for Panthers Fans Only podcast will be back. Season 5 loading. I can't wait for y'all to see what time it is, March 14th. I know I kind of went down a little rabbit hole, but I can't wait for y'all to see what time it is, March 14th. But I digress. Y'all will see. Make sure to tap in with us on social media so you know. But yeah, your wide receiver one problem is fixed if you get Tet. And I don't know if y'all saw the same report that I saw, and I can't even quote it. I can't say who it was, who the source was, because I don't remember. Excuse me. But I saw today that there's a high possibility that picks 1 through 3 in April is quarterback. And if that happens, a lot of things open up. Because everybody wants to holler about Mason Graham. That's a possibility. With the injury to Abdul, I don't believe that he'll drop that far. I'm not even going to get my hopes up. That high. But if he does, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all what I'm doing. Abdul, of course. Tet is going to be another option. There's going to be options if the draft board falls quarterback. It's going to be some options. I'm not going to hold you, because then if that happens, there are a couple of teams still in the top 7 or 8 that need a quarterback. If the first 3 go quarterback, but then things kind of get a little interesting with the Raiders kind of finding their quarterback. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but we'll have the breakdown of that as well when the time is right. What is Terrence talking about? He talking about, I got it. Tavian, don't start that, bro, because you already know how they get. C plus. Omar says C plus day. All right, let's just get into it real quick. Let's go ahead and get into it. I guess we beating around the bush for long enough. Let's see. And I would love to have this conversation too. Let's start here because this is where the day started. JC Horn. I'm waiting. I want to see what y'all got to say about this news. I've been waiting. Like, as soon as this news dropped, I was like, yeah, I can't wait to go live tonight, because I got to see what chat is talking about. Let me go through the chat real quick. I'm gonna go through the chat real quick, and then we gonna see how y'all feeling about this JC Horn news, because I'm gonna give y'all my unbiased, 100% honest opinion. I am. Let's see. I definitely would have kicked the tires on Evan before I brought Tommy back. Yeah, bloody. I would have to. You got to at least see, bro, because I don't think that the market for Tommy Tremble was like crazy. Like, you feel me? And if you were willing to spend the money that it was going to take to get Evan Ingram back, you would have been willing to match what most teams, what 90% of the league would have been willing to do for Tommy Tremble, and what their number on him would have been. And I don't even think, like I said, I don't think Tommy Tremble was a hot commodity on, team free agent boards. I just don't think that's the case. I don't. Though, so overall, I feel so much better about the offense or defense stopping the run. Totally agree. QJ said this draft deep with edge and only one tech. It is only one tech. Facts. 18th. Thank you, Tavian, thank you, Terrence, for confirming that. Thank you. I understand now. March 18th. You're talking about I got it. No, QJ. No. Hey, let me go ahead and tell this to the chat too real quick, bro. Let the dream of Travis Hunter being a Carolina Panther, let it die. Let it die. Let it die. It's okay. I would love to have him too, but just let it die, bro. It's just no point. Terrence, that's a great question. That's a great question. Is Mason Graham still a possibility with what we did today? I don't know, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Cause you still got Shy. You still got LeBron Ray, whatever bro's name is. And then you look at the pieces that we added today, like we got really like we made a lot of progression from a depth standpoint in that D line room. And I don't know, to be honest, bro. Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. I don't think that Mason Graham is what y'all make him out to be. Like, and that's just me. I'm not here, I'm never gonna lie to y'all. That's number one. Number two, like I'm always gonna give my unbiased opinion, unfiltered opinion. I don't believe Mason Graham is what y'all try and make him to be. I don't think he's that guy. I really don't. I don't think Mason Graham is that dude, bro. The dude that y'all think Mason Graham is, I don't believe he's that guy. I don't. And listen, everybody, like I said, my whole team is in here. Terrence, Tavian, and Dylan. They'll all tell you that, my assessment on talent from time to time is not the best. So I could be completely blazing about Mason Graham. But right now, based on what I've seen, I mean, he's a good player. Do I think he's a top 15 draft pick? Yeah. Do I feel like he's top 11? Yeah, probably, but I'm not even guaranteeing that he's top 10 for real because I just don't see it. And there's a possibility that he gets sniped before he even gets to us. So we could be talking about a guy that's a top 6 or 7 pick. For me personally, I just don't get intrigued by what I see from him on film. I don't. Especially not with, like you said, like Terrence said, like Doug said. I just personally don't really get that intrigued by him after some of the moves that we made today. I don't. Mason Graham is not that appealing to me. He's not, and that was before we even made the deals that we made today. And unfortunately, the deals that we made today, that makes that shit even a little more tough for me. No, I wasn't skipping your question. I had to go back to it. My fault. Just chill, bro. Just chill. Omar said Phil it was overpaid, but we're Carolina, so we like Dunk say. What did Dunk calls it, the trash tax? Dunk calls it the trash tax. Yeah, when you're garbage, when you're ass, when your city, doesn't really compete with a lot of these other major cities like a Chicago or like like the two New York markets, like Dallas. Shit, even like Atlanta, when your city, you know what I'm saying? When your city is not that popping and you ain't been to the playoffs in what, 7, 8 years? Unfortunately, yeah, you got to pay that trash tax. I like that. I heard Dunk say that earlier. I like that. You gotta pay that tax, that trash tax for sure. You are. Um. Okay, let's talk about JC. Let's talk about JC. Bloody said, "Give me Ted, Will Johnson, or trade down." I'm not mad at that. And Genty, no. Honestly, unfortunately, the amount of PTSD that I have from the bullshit bogus stunt that we pulled for Jonathan Brooks, if we draft Genty at 8, I might lose my mind. And unfortunately, that will probably be the episode after the draft of For Panthers Fans Only. Unfortunately, will probably be the last episode that y'all will ever be able to tune into on the G2S network because we will be canceled if we drafted Genty. If the Carolina Panthers draft Genty at 8, we will be canceled. I'm telling y'all right now. And y'all know, if y'all ever watched FPFO, it would take a lot to get us to that position of being canceled. But I'm telling y'all right now, for me, that's before I even go to Terrence. That's before I even go to Terrence and let him get his shit off. I'm telling y'all, for me, we would be canceled. So that would be the last episode of FPFO that y'all would ever see. So it's probably in everybody's best interest that's on the stream right now, as well as the whole team, for us not to draft Genty, because I would lose my fucking top. I would lose it. I would lose it. I would lose it. And just today alone, I've been tested so much, and I've been so proud of my resilience and my ability to be patient, calm, and forgiving. Should the Carolina Panthers draft Genty 1-8 in April, FPFO is over, because I'm going to lose my noggin. I'm going to lose my noggin. So no, I don't even want to see that name. I don't even want to see that name. Omar said that would be a reasonable cancellation, a reasonable crash out worth the cancellation. Yeah, probably. I think a lot of fans would be feeling very, very similar. Very, very similar. Definitely do that for sure. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Hop in the chat, man. Hop in the chat. Just come kick it. And I told you I would drop the link if anybody ever wanted to join when we do Move the Chains live on Monday nights. If anybody ever wants to join, don't hesitate to tell me. Drop the link, and I'll drop the link, and y'all come kick it with me. If y'all get up here talking crazy, I gotta give you the boot. I'm not gonna hold you. Doug is very, very very kind and friendly when it comes to that. But if y'all get up here talking crazy, unfortunately, I gotta kick y'all. But if y'all want to hop on. I don't care. But the one requirement, if you come up here, gotta turn your camera on. Because we gotta, for one, we gotta be able to put a face with a name. We gotta make you stand on business. And for three, just for content purposes. Everybody gotta have their camera on. But I'm willing to bring y'all on the stage if that's what y'all want to do. If we draft Stewart from Texas A&M, I would crash the fuck out. I mean, yeah, that's another crash out worthy guy. The crash out worthy pick. That Walker boy from UGA, they love being gassed up on him too. I don't see it, but then again, my talent assessment isn't the best. And my crew will tell you that it's not the best, because I've been extremely high on guys like Jamie Robinson and Ian Thomas. And I've been, extremely low on guys like DJ Moore. So my talent assessment isn't the best, admittedly. However, Jalen Walker, not that guy. Mason Graham, to me, as of right now, not that guy. Bloody said, yeah, if we draft Shamar Stewart, I'll be in the same boat with you, QJ. Yeah, for sure. Hey, March 14th. Golden. Yeah, I mean that's what we need. We need a speed wide receiver like that, a guy that can take the top off of the defense. But do you take him with 1-8? Nah. There's only a few names, bro. And I don't know. Actually, I do know. Golden is not 1-8 worthy. He's not. Like that shit, it's cute. It's cute. The 4-3 is cute. And also, I done seen Golden disappear in a lot of big moments. And the reason why I see him disappear is because I had money on him. And that's not me being biased. But just know, when I have money on individual players, I'm fully locked into the performance and the effort they're giving. I done seen Golden disappear a couple of times in big moments with the game on the line. So, yeah, that's not really the culture that we're looking for in the Panthers locker room right now. It's not. My bad, Terrence. Thank you, bro. That's why I need you around, bro. Keep me on track. JC, highest paid defensive back in NFL history. 4 years, $100 million extension, $108 million max, $70 million guaranteed, $25 million per year. Officially the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. And when I do Move the Chains, I work very, very diligently and hard to make sure I don't get the YouTube channel clipped, because I know I'm responsible for FPFO as well. and it would be very um inconsiderate for me to crash out to a point where we get canceled and FPFO has nothing to do with it. I'll start by saying that. And I think I'm going to be very calm, actually. I think I am going to be very calm. Um, 4 years, $100 million is a lot of fucking money. That is a lot of money for a guy that, if we're being 100% honest, has only played one full season. And that one full season came last year. And, before y'all jump down my back, I know that he missed, 2 games or whatever the fuck the case is at the end of the season. I'm aware of that. But 4 years, $100 million for a guy that hasn't played a full season, with the exception of one, right? And even in that one, we weren't competitive. He had the ability to play 2 full seasons. And I give him credit for the season that he played when we made the run with Steve Wilkes, because he was a huge part to our defense. He was a lockdown cornerback, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, the reason why I have a problem with that particular season is because when a season was on the line, when a divisional title was on the line, when a playoff berth was on the line, JC was unavailable. JC was unavailable. What I will say, Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, his front office, everybody let us know what time it was. Dan Morgan was not here to play any games at all with JC Horn. And I will say, I give him credit for that. Excuse me, because one of the biggest problems I had, or one of the main reasons why, when we went over our priorities for this offseason on FPFO, why I said JC Horn needed to be addressed the first, or first out of everything else, was because I didn't want to run into another Brian Burns situation. I didn't want to run into another Frankie Louvu situation. All of these situations where we've seen pretty good talent, subjectively, or rather objectively, pretty good talent leave the building for free. I just simply didn't even want to remotely come close to that deadline next year when JC Horn would have had the ability to be a free agent. I just couldn't do it. So I give the front office and Dan Morgan and Dave Canales credit for that, because you handled your business when you should have handled your business. $100 million is a lot of bread for a nigga that has only played one full season. And listen to me, I love JC Horn. I don't want y'all to get that misconstrued at all. I don't. But that's a lot of money, dog. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, especially when you look at it and it's a guy that doesn't trail. And we've had that conversation multiple times, right? And we heard the comments. I want to say excuses. I really want to say excuses, because really at the end of the day, we had gotten torched, and the questions were coming up because we weren't allowing our number one cornerback to trail their number one receiver. So I will say we heard the excuses regarding why we don't allow JC Horn to travel, and it's a personnel issue, and we just simply don't have the guys to allow him to travel, and we this and that, yada yada yada. Cool. Now all of that has to be out of the window, unfortunately. There's just simply not a game going forward in the next 4 years that JC Horn is healthy and is active that I don't see him trailing the number one receiver. Right? Because I believe that JC Horn is a special talent. I do. I believe that JC Horn is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Me and Terrence had a little moment that got me cussed out by everybody on Twitter. And I didn't even say it, but we were talking about the Pat Surtain and JC Horn comparison. I believe that JC Horn is on that level. I do. The conversation that we were having needed to be had at that time. So do I believe JC Horn is special? Absolutely. Do I believe JC Horn is a dog? Absolutely. Do I think there's stuff that he still needs to work on? Yes, absolutely. Because nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. Did I believe that the Carolina Panthers were going to reset the market for JC Horn? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. $25 million a year $100 million over 4 years is a lot of money for a guy that has only played one full season. It is. It is. I'm just here to be honest. Now, like I said, I'm happy that they did it. I love the fact that that was the first thing that they did today, right? Because I know a lot of fans were kind of skeptical. A lot of fans were relatively hesitant. Again, like I mentioned earlier, we've seen a lot of talent come in and out of this building more times than not for free, right? You look at the Christian McCaffrey situation, we definitely didn't get what he was worth for that. You look at the Brian Burns situation. Now, I don't knock the current regime for that, but it went to shit. You look at the Frankie Louvu and Jeremy Chin situation. Again, leaving the building for free. A lot of talent has been here that's left for free. So do I applaud and do I respect the approach that Dan Morgan and Dave Canales in the front office took with getting the deal done? Absolutely. But is $100 million, 108 possibly a lot of money? Absolutely. It is. That's a lot of bread. That's a lot of bread. That's a lot of money for a guy that has only played one season for you to make him the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. That's a lot of bread. It is. It is. Now, this is the thing with that. $4 million, or excuse me, check that. 4 years, you have your lockdown corner for 4 years going forward, right? So at the very bare minimum, you have one side of the field or one receiver that the opposing offense can't throw to support Bryce Young in this offense for the next 4 years. That's the positive. It's a lot of fucking bread. Let's see. I want to hear what y'all got to say. I want to hear what y'all got to say. Brandon, chill, Brandon. I know, bro. I'll be going on tennis. That's why I need Terrence. That's why I need Terrence and Tavy and everybody else involved, because they help me stay focused, bro. So that's why I had to get it back. Is that on him or you? Oh, you talking about Golden? That's on him. That was on him. The game that I saw Golden disappear, it was on him. He has 2 seasons, 3 and 6 games played. Yeah. And Terrence, you know what? I did say that. I did. That's why I said. That's why I prefaced everything that I said before with I commend and I applaud and I'm appreciative for the way that this front office handled the J.C. Horn situation, because I've seen all of the talent that we've had over the years leave for free or leave at an extremely discounted price. So that's why I give them credit. I commend them for that. But at the end of the day, bro, that don't mean that you got to go pay bro $100 million plus. You don't got to pay $100 million plus to retain talent, unless that was just his number and he was firm on it. And in that case, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he has this year remaining, or he had this year remaining on his contract, and they would have been eligible for the tag. Yeah. You know what time it is for me. If you coming in there demanding that money, and I'm not necessarily willing to pay you that number, yeah, I mean, I don't really care what you want, nigga. You're gonna get them pads on, and you gonna play, and you gonna show me that you deserve that. J.C. Horn has stayed healthy for literally 1 season. He stayed healthy for literally 1 season. Like Omar just mentioned in the chat, he has 2 seasons of 3 games played and 6 games played. So 2 out of his 4 seasons, he's played less than 7 games. And those 2 seasons combined didn't even play 10 games. So, yeah, forgive me, Terrence. Forgive me if that's my stance. Bloody said if he stays healthy, he's 100% worth it. They gave him a bit too much guarantee, though, with his injury history, which I agree with. Like, yeah, if he stays healthy. And don't get me wrong, like, I absolutely love the approach that J.C. Horn took with his body this year. I do. Like, training camp, there were days where I could tell he was going, you know what I'm saying, wasn't going full out 100%. There were days where J.C. Horn would just sit out, whatever the case may be. I don't even know if J.C. Horn played any reps in the preseason. If he did, I know they were extremely minimal just because I don't remember them. So I just love the approach that JC and the training staff took with his body this year in preparation, because obviously this was the healthiest that we've seen him, right? This is the healthiest that we've seen him. Yeah, he had some nicks and dings a couple of times throughout the season, and then, he had the injury that took him out towards the back end of the season, the last 2 games or whatever the case was. But at that point, everything was already wrapped up. So, yeah, unfortunately, with your injury history, if I'm Dave Canales, hey, little bro, matter of fact, don't even put your shit on. Just put on your Panthers attire and street clothes. Put your chain on, shades on if you prefer, and just sit back and chill. We can't risk it. We know how fragile you are, with all due respect. Tavian said JC bent Dan over the negotiating table and had his way with him. I mean, to be quite frank, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with that. I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily disagree. What take are you saying that you got fried for? I'm confused. Omar says CMC missing a whole year's while we got what we got. I mean, yeah, that's cool and that's cute, bro. And yeah, that played a part in it. But we're not gonna act like we didn't know what CMC was, whether he was out or not. And I will honestly tell you that it was the Carolina Panthers' fault that Christian McCaffrey was in the position that he was in to miss a whole season. I mean, you think that you're gonna have a guy his size with the utilization rate that we had him playing at, and he's not going to get banged up at some point or another? Absolutely. Which is why, if you fast forward to this season, you see now he got all kind of different things going on with his Achilles and his lower extremities and shit like that. Like, yeah, it was destined to happen at some point. But at the same time, the same way JC allegedly per Tavian got bent or bent down over the table is the same thing that the San Francisco 49ers did to Scott Fitter and co. Terrence said, if I'm a talented player like JC, it's kind of like you pay the bread I'm asking, or I'll go get a bag from a contender, even if it's not as much as this one. Like, I'm gonna negotiate with the fucking Carolina Panthers. Let's be real. Yeah, bro, but at some point or another, like, if you're the Carolina Panthers, you have to drop your nuts. But understood, and I received your point, and to be honest, you have a point. You have a point, because at the end of the day, it is the Carolina Panthers. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers right now aren't in a position to drop their nuts. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And again, I will say this. That is just the fan in me saying that. But if you just look at my core values and what I truly believe, I always say this. So if anybody has like been on this page or on this channel for any amount of time and has watched any amount of content that we've ever produced, you'll know that I always say, I'm always saying I'm pro creator, I'm pro artist, and I'm pro player. So anytime these athletes or these artists or whatever the situation is has the ability to get their bag and they get it from the establishment, quote unquote, I'm always going to champion it. So I don't knock JC at all for what he did. I don't knock JC Horn at all for what he did, nor his approach, and I salute his representation. Because for a guy to have missed X amount of games in the first 2 years of his career and to have only really played one season, and you can still get him $100 million, your representation is different. And you probably never want to part ways with them because they're different. So I'm happy for JC Horn. I'm chanting like, hey, salute. I'm happy. I love the fact he's going to be a Carolina Panther for the next 4 years, right? That's JJ core values, right? But then at some point or another, we just have to have a honest conversation, right? We do. Because if you're the Carolina Panthers and that was the number that he was demanding, you sit back and you say, you know what? Yeah, you've missed ample amount of games over the first 4 years of your career. 3 years, 4 years, whatever the time period is. Are you a phenomenal talent? Absolutely. We'll sit back and we'll wait. Can you stay healthy again? Can you stay healthy again? That would be my main question. Because yes, that's the stance right now, Terrence, and that's the way we're looking at it right now. Like, yeah, JC Horn had all the leverage in that situation, XYZ. But at the end of the day, how are we gonna feel as Carolina Panthers fans? Again, I'm pro athlete, I'm pro everybody getting their bread. But how are we gonna feel if we pay JC Horn $100 million this season with his current injury history and something happens game 5 or game 6 this year? And he's out for the year. How are we going to feel? How are we going to feel? Actually, that's rhetorical because I'll just tell you, and I'm pretty sure that I speak for 98% of the people in this room right now that's watching currently. We're going to be absolutely enraged and livid. And we're going to be looking at this contract like, what the fuck were we thinking as an organization to give a guy that has only played one full season $100+ million? That's what the conversation will be should that happen. But God willing, it won't. God willing, it won't. I don't know if that necessarily gets us canceled, but it's going to push it. We're going to be tiptoeing that line. We're going to be tiptoeing that line. The taker JC needs to travel with the best receivers, regardless of personnel. The best travel with the best on the other team. I mean, yeah, but like I said, bro, if they're telling me that it's a personnel issue, then cool. But that is applicable. Like I said, that whole travel method and you using that excuse is applicable when you're not getting paid. Excuse me, when you're not getting paid $100 million. When you're not getting $25 million a year, that excuse can be utilized. Now, let CeeDee Lamb and the Dallas Cowboys come into Charlotte this upcoming season and he don't travel. I feel like I don't even really need to say much. I feel like I don't even really, because y'all know how I'm going to act, and I'm going to act up, and then we're going to run the risk. Y'all going to be looking at me like the crazy big nigga, like y'all already do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I already know how y'all going to look at me and perceive me. I'm just warning y'all ahead of time. March 10th, before, like, literally 6 months away from the season beginning. I'm just telling y'all, if I don't see JC traveling this season, there's going to be a conversation had, bro. There's going to be a conversation had. No cap. Let me see something since we're here. Y'all bear with me, man. It's the first day of illegal tampering. Y'all bear with me. We got some time tonight. I need to see something. Give me 1 second. I need to see who JC Horn needs to be facing off against this year. Okay, so the first game out of division, looking at Puka and Devontae. Cool. If you want to keep him on one side of the field for that game, go crazy. Same thing with Seattle. I'm not necessarily, actually, I'll show y'all what I'm looking at. Let me show y'all what I'm looking at so y'all can stay engaged with me. I need y'all to stay engaged with me so y'all can see what I'm looking at. 1 second. Go to Seattle. JSN is not that much of a threat. Now, do I believe the Seahawks are going to roll that receiving core out that they have currently? I don't believe so. Right? So I don't necessarily need to see you travel with JSN just because, yes, he's a dog, he's a demon, but at the end of the day, he's not really going to move me too much. Khalil Shakir, yes, JC Horn needs to be traveling with Khalil Shakir. With $100 million on your books for a guy that has only played one full season, JC Horn needs to be traveling with Khalil Shakir. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt to stay where he's at against Devontae and Puka. Same thing with Tampa Bay. I'm gonna let him stay. Drake London, yeah, he got to get that work the whole game. Arizona, Yeah, you need to be on Marvin Harrison Jr. New England, I mean, I feel like they're about to load up. So I'll hold off because I don't even know what their receiving core is going to look like. I'll hold off there. But if the Jets don't move on from Garrett Wilson, you need to be traveling. If the well, not even if the Dallas Cowboys don't move on, because they're definitely not moving on from CD Lamb. But I need to see J.C. Horn, no cap. Let me go ahead and put it on wax and on record right now. I need to see J.C. Horn trailing CD Lamb, Tyreek, Khalil, and Marvin Harrison Jr. minimum, and Drake London for the two Falcons games. 6 games where he trails, that's not asking too much. And then when we got to go see Brian Thomas Jr., whatever his name is, from Jacksonville, you need to be trailing that nigga too. Because unfortunately, like I always say, heavy is the head, right? So when you get paid $100 million, that's just what type timing it is. That's just what time it is. And Tavian, I don't know where you get off thinking that Khalil Shakir is not one of them ones. He is, bro. And you'll see this year. You'll see this year. You'll see this year. You'll see. All right, let's get into some more of the signings. Y'all let me know, though. Let me know. Add us on Twitter, add us on Instagram, whatever you need to do. How do you feel about the J.C. Horn signing? Like, I believe the overall, and this could be me projecting, but I'm just gonna tell y'all what I felt on Twitter and kind of like, what time it is. I believe the overall feeling with the signing is that like we are extremely happy and grateful that we have a talent like J.C. Horn signed to a 4-year deal, 4-year extension, excuse me. Extremely grateful. However, kind of hesitant about the $100 million. That's what I believe the energy is right now inside of the fan base, within the fan base. But if I'm wrong, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. That's my feeling. Let me not even project it. Let me not speak for the fan base and the culture on this particular topic. My personal opinion, I'm ecstatic that the Carolina Panthers brought J.C. Horn back. I love J.C. Horn. He's a dog. He's a demon. He comes down. He hits. This was his best season tackling wise that we've ever seen from J.C. Horn. Came up huge in a lot of big moments. I immediately think back to the Chargers game where he kept us in the game on multiple occasions with the interception and then 3rd and shorts. Kansas City game, I think he had a huge stop and on 3rd or 4th down. I believe they were like right on the brink of field goal range. He came up huge, made a big tackle there, right? So, he's a stud. He's a dog. He's a stud. He's a dog. But that number is heavy. That number is heavy. And when you get that type of number, the expectations change a little bit, right? So, yeah, you can get hurt if you'd like the first 2 or 3 years of your career and be out for the same for X amount of time. Same thing with Jonathan Brooks, right? We don't really necessarily knock him as much for tearing his shit as much as we look crazy at the front office, right? I think that we can all agree with that. When you touch 100 M's and you're not a quarterback, it hits different. So now the expectation is what it is. That's my opinion. That's how I feel. Still absolutely love J.C. Horn. I got his jersey. That might be the first jersey that I wear to the game this year just because, we up. We up. Shout out to bro for getting his bread. But I'm just telling y'all, with that, don't y'all get to tripping if I don't see him shadowing and if I don't see him producing like $100 million man. Don't y'all get to tripping and don't y'all be on my top because I'm letting y'all know now, as y'all are already aware, the expectation is a little bit different. It is. It is. Let's see. What happened after that? Did we go Trayvon Merring? Did we go Trayvon Merring first, or did the whole Milton Williams debacle happen after that? Tavian, you must be at the gym. You must be smoking crack, because I will never put a Taylor Moton jersey on my body. I would never put a Taylor Moton jersey on my body simply based on the fact that he did us crazy and we ain't even do nothing to him. So you already know what time it is. Milton Williams, cool. Let's go Milton Williams. And I touched on this a little bit earlier, but it's a lot more people in here than when we first started because I couldn't get X to work and all just different kind of shit was going on. So we'll revisit it, but we won't spend much time on it. Milton Williams. Now, Milton Williams, when we went over on FPFO before the season ended, our season 4 of the For Panthers Fans Only podcast, we went through and we did a free agent wish list. I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, because everybody is in the chat. Everybody's in the chat. I don't believe any of us had Milton Williams' name on our wish list. However, after the Super Bowl and after hearing some rumors, I think that all of us, for Panthers Fans Only, the cast, I think all of us were on the Milton Williams hype train. I saw Twitter. I felt what time it was pre-today. I felt what time it was, and I think everybody would have been A-okay if we went all in on Milton Williams. Now, report comes out. The Carolina Panthers are finalizing the deal with Milton Williams. We think it's a done deal. At least I did. I thought it was a done deal, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like we sending gifts in the chat. I'm already thinking what number he's gonna wear because I'm about to go get a custom jersey made. All of that because he's a dog to me. He's a dog to me. He's a killer. Y'all saw the performance he put on in the Super Bowl. I don't really got to say much. Excuse me. So the deal in my head is already done. And then like 15 or 20 minutes later, it's reported that hold on, not so fast, hold the phone, quote, hold the phone. They're, who was it? The Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. Who were the teams still in the hunt? Because they came out with a report saying there were 2 or 3 teams. They said one team was unnamed, who, based on the report that I saw, the unnamed team was the New England Patriots that ended up with them. And then there was like 1 or 2 other teams. Again, I'm pro-athlete, I'm pro-artist, etc. The Cardinals and the Vikings, right? The Cardinals and the Vikings were the 2 teams named with the Carolina Panthers. And then the New England Patriots, as we assume up to this point, because the deal got done, was the unnamed team, right? So that excitement and everything quickly went out of the building. And I instantly get sick because I'm thinking in my head, here we go again with this bullshit. Here we go again. Terrence said, yeah, I don't fuck with him. And when we get back to that, I'm gonna slander his name. You're gonna have the opportunity to, because I figured that was gonna be your stance. That was gonna be your stance. What I will say is, like, initially, I was calling, like QJ said earlier, I was calling Milton Williams everything but a child of God. Oh my God. Let me just tell y'all this too. If that FPFO chat ever gets leaked, just know we're over with. So I'm gonna just go ahead and be honest with y'all on that front too. We are over with and we're clipped if that FPFO chat gets leaked. But just know JJ was calling Milton Williams everything but a child of God in that group chat because I ain't really like that. Not gonna hold you. Not gonna hold you. However, Tavian said his parents said in the interview a few weeks ago they were going to go wherever the highest contract came from. QJ said, I hope the nigga get hey. Hey, QJ, you got to chill, bro. QJ said, I hope the nigga gets stretched sleeping like Tommy in Chicago. Damn. Why y'all, but let me ask y'all a question, though. This is a QJ and Terrence and whoever else feels this way. Why y'all mad at Milton Williams, though, for real? Like, I feel it because, like, initially, like, knee-jerk reaction, and I tested it, and I was like, bro, this nigga better hope that by 8:15 p.m. Eastern time, I'm calm because I was ready to come up here and air him. But, like, when I look at the situation, like, it's just like, for one, what loyalty does he have to Carolina? Them niggas is just a suitor, possible suitor. And if they can't pay me what they can pay me over here, Unfortunately, there's nothing in their history that tells me that I need to go to Carolina over New England. These niggas ain't been to the playoffs in X amount of years. They don't got no rings. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things with free agency that you can look at and you can just knock it and just move on. So I don't really knock Milton Williams for real because he went to the highest bidder, bro. Why are y'all so upset? Like, why are y'all mad at Milton for that? QJ, what would possibly make you want the nigga to get stretched and knocked out like Tommy did in Chicago? Like, I don't understand. Let me ask y'all a question. If this was a team, if the Carolina Panthers were a team, QJ said he used us to get the bag, the Patriots wouldn't. I mean, yeah, bro, but that's business. That's business. How y'all gonna be mad at that? That's business. Hey, if I'm Milton Williams in that situation, and again, was I upset when this shit happened? Yes, absolutely. Because as a fan, I was ecstatic because I thought the Carolina Panthers had Milton Williams, and I thought he was a dog. I thought he was a dog. Matter of fact, I still think he's a dog, and I just love what he brings to the table. And I would have loved to see that rotation with Derek Brown, Ashawn, and Milton. But like, yeah, as a fan, I was heated. But like, bro, if I'm in Milton Williams' situation and I'm going to my representation, I'm looking at nigga dead in his eyes and saying, until I sign some paperwork, you keep your phone on. You keep your phone on. Did he play us? Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's business, bro. That's business. And you got to understand, bro, NFL guys, specifically like guys like D tackles and guys that really, really like, we not talking about Aaron Donalds and shit like that. D linemen are only going to get paid a major, huge contract a couple of times. Matter of fact, really not even a couple of times. Like one time they're going to get a major contract after that rookie deal is up. When they sign that extension, that's more than likely going to be the last time they really, really touch something crazy. So did he use us? Yeah. Like as a Panthers fan, like do we get tired of getting dunked on and like people passing up on us and kind of like shitting on us? Yeah, absolutely. Like, but do I knock him for that? No. What loyalty does he owe the Carolina Panthers? Like, yeah, nigga, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm ready to sign with y'all. But if y'all only and this is, you know, these numbers are just a guesstimate of what I believe. If y'all are only going to offer me 22 and a half, 23, even $24 million, and my representation still has his phone on and I ain't signed that paperwork, and New England comes in and tells me, hey, big guy, hey, big guy, I heard you're thinking about signing with the Carolina Panthers. This is what we can do for you. How does $26 million a year sound? Unfortunately, I hate to be that guy, but I'm just telling y'all what time it is for me. That's business. Until that paperwork is signed, nigga, everything is up in the air. Everything is up in the air. Terrence said, "Great stunt by his team, but I ain't fuck with it." What is New England? New England loaded up today, and they still have ample amount of money. They had the most cap space in the whole NFL coming into the day. So they're not even remotely close to being done. They have a young quarterback, which we do too, but Drake May is a dog. I'm not saying that Bryce Young isn't, but I'm just saying they have a young quarterback, they have a winning culture, and they had more money. Unfortunately, that's all you need. That's all you need when you're talking 26 million. And more times than not, you don't even need that. Shit, go look at the Myles Garrett situation. The Cleveland Browns don't got none of that. And he still signed what he signed after doing all that chatting, talking about he was leaving and trying to get the meeting with ownership and everything like that, doing all that bluffing and talking. That cheese talk, that money talk. When that Chocho get up, if you ain't talking right, you're going to see a nigga's true colors. And unfortunately, like I said, Milton Williams just simply didn't owe like any loyalty to the Carolina Panthers. It seems like we were extremely close to a deal. It seemed like he was ready to say, yeah, this is what we're doing to his team and his representation. And it seems like there was a call from the New England Patriots. One last hope, one last shot to get him in Foxborough. And they were willing to do something that we just simply weren't willing to do. And like I said earlier at the beginning of the stream, before most of y'all came in here, unfortunately, there's just certain prices that we're not going to be able to pay. We're not going to be able to pay $26 million for, a guy that is a dog. But again, we're not talking about Aaron Donald. We're not talking about Michael Parsons. And I know that we're talking two separate positions at this point. But if we're just talking about D lineman, we ain't talking about AD. We're not talking about Micah. We're not talking about TJ Watt. We're not even really talking for real. We're not even talking about Trey Hendrickson, who the Carolina Panthers fan base really needs to shift their attention to. Because everybody wants to talk about potentially moving back and doing this and that and doing that. And y'all want to pay big money to a big money guy. Honestly, Trey Hendrickson, that's who y'all need to shift y'all focus to now. Because he's one of them ones. He's one of them ones. He's been one of them ones for multiple years. Not saying that Milton Williams hasn't, but, we haven't really heard his name as much in the past that we have this year. So, I understand why y'all are mad and frustrated and upset because it feels like we got finessed. But like at the end of the day, if you look at it from the other perspective, because I'm mad too, I'm upset too as a fan, and I'm tired of the Panthers just being the laughing stock and niggas playing with us. But at the end of the day, if you look at it from a different perspective, Milton Williams and his representation, we owe no loyalty to the Carolina Panthers at all. We feel like the New England Patriots give us a better chance at winning, and they're giving us more money. This is where we're going. Simple. That's how I feel. Snake move. Tired of Hey, QJ, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm frustrated with that too. Like, yeah, it gets frustrating and tiring when niggas play with your top and niggas play with you and they say, oh, yeah, we're coming. We're coming. Then you hang up the phone and then all of a sudden you see in a report that, like, I get it, bro. Like, yeah, it's very, very frustrating. It's frustrating. It is. It is. Terrence said they had a winning culture. That shit reset. That shit reset the goat gall. I mean, yeah, it reset. It reset, but at the same time, there's still a certain level of demand. There's still a certain culture. Just because, like, yeah, Tom is gone and Bill is gone, but at the same time, like, just organizationally within the fan base is just a different expectation. The fan base is just completely different cultures, right? And then you go up the ladder to the front office and ownership. Ownership hasn't changed. Robert Kraft ain't gone nowhere. And you think that he got as many rings as he does, seeing the GOAT play, seeing one of the GOATs and Bill Belichick on the sideline, how he runs his organization, his program, etc. And you think that shit is just going to change because them two is gone? No, they set the standard in the bar. At this point, this is the expectation. So, yeah, that culture is still there. That culture is still there. It's the same type culture that the Dallas Cowboys fan base has been living off of for the last 30 years. And I say that with all due respect. I'm not shooting at Tavian. I'm just saying, like, when you have that expectation to win championships and to compete at a high level every single season, that shit doesn't dissipate. Like, that just doesn't go away. Like, you know what I'm saying? That just doesn't, like, drop off the face of the earth because two people left. No, they set the standard. They set the bar. Now, at this point, this is what we got to reach as an organization and as a team and as a program. Mr. Hunky Dory, what's popping? I think we still have money left. I would assume so because I heard that the Carolina Panthers aren't done. And that was before we signed bro from Kansas City. But I think that we still have money to play with. I don't see anywhere where we're out of money. And to be honest, if you look at the New Orleans Saints situation and what they were able to do over the last 4 or 5 years before they got in this hellhole that they're in now, the cap space doesn't even really exist for real, as far as I'm concerned. Because I done seen way too many teams be able to finesse it, scam it, scheme it, chop it this way, serve it that way, and now all of a sudden they got X amount of dollars to play with. So that's not even something, to be honest, that I would be worried about. If we're still getting multiple years out of multiple game-changing guys, you go all in right now on this window that you have with Bryce Young. We don't got time to play around. We don't have time to play around. And unfortunately, I'm here to say on record, and then we'll move on to the next couple of transactions, and then we're going to wrap up because we've been up here for some time now. But unfortunately, I don't know what y'all's expectation is this year, and I don't know how y'all feel about it. But to me, this season is a failure, and I say this in March, right? So obviously, perspective changes. Excuse me. But I say this in March because I really had similar expectations last year before Bryce came out and was on what he was on, and it took him a little while to get going and shit like that. But now that I see Bryce Young playing at the level that he played at the last 10 games of the season, and I see what our current offensive line is capable of doing, and I see 1,000+ yard receiver in the backfield, and I see what y'all are doing on the defensive side of the ball, I don't know how y'all feel, but for JJ, this year, we need to be competing for a divisional title. And to be honest, not to jump fully out of the window, but if we don't win it, if we don't win the NFC South, the shit might be a failure. It might be a failure. But maybe that's a little too far for March, the first day of legal tampering. Maybe it's a little too far. I'm just telling y'all what energy I'm on this season. So everybody already knows, and there's no confusion. Because I really, really feel like last season, specifically on FPFO, I chilled out. I really feel like we chilled on FPFO last season. And to be quite frank, I don't know personally if I'm in the mental space to do that again this year. I don't. I'm not here to lie. I'm not here to lie to y'all. I'm just keeping it 1,000. I'm just letting y'all know how I feel and what time it is. That's all I'm doing. So after the whole Milton Williams debacle, I apologize, bro. I don't know where I thought I had some water in here. Yeah, I do. I need this shit. Give me 1 second. My apologies. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in, man, in the chat. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on X and you don't follow us, make sure to hit that follow button. Take some time out right now during this 15-second intermission. Find us on YouTube at the G2S Network. Hit that subscribe button. If you want to watch over there, you can. Either way, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're tuned in, I'm happy, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm humble. March 14th, this Friday. Turn your notifications on. You're not going to want to miss it. Friday, March 14th, 9 a.m. Friday, March 14th, 9 a.m. Turn your notifications on. For sure. Do that. Let's go through some of these other signings. So after the Milton Williams debacle, everybody was up in arms. We come back, sign a safety. Trayvon Merring. I know a lot of people are high on him. I know a lot of people are skeptical about him. I think for me personally, I'm one of those guys that's skeptical. He's a smaller guy, in my opinion, who plays safety, and we still need more safety help. But my biggest problem and why I'm hesitant is simply based on the fact that in coverage, he leaves a lot to be desired. That's my biggest issue with Trayvon. Now, do I feel like that can get fixed? Do I feel like if EJ does what he needs to do to keep his job this season, we'll be on our P's and Q's on that back half or in the secondary this year? Do I feel like that's the case? Absolutely. I will say this: I absolutely love the way he flies around the field. I do, and I know there's a couple of other content creators where this guy in particular was on their wish list, their free agent wish list, and I'm happy for y'all, and I commend y'all for calling that and you know, dissecting the the team needs and figuring out what we need and seeing who fits that and predicting that. But I'm saving my full opinion about this signing until I see what he's able to offer the first 7 games of the year. I'm giving him 7 games. Let me see. I didn't even put the contract details in here. Give me 1 second. My apologies. Let me pull up the contract details. 25 years old, 3 years. Damn, man. 3 years, $51 million, $17 million a year. $17 million a year for Trayvon Marring. Again, I don't hate the signing. I don't. I mean, I think there was way worse options that you could have gone with. $17 million again is kind of heavy. It's kind of heavy for me for a guy that leaves a little to be desired in the passing game. It is, but hey, it's a hole that we need filled. It's a hole that pause. That shit sounded crazy. Wow, it's a hole that the Carolina Panthers needed filled on their roster. It was a hole we needed filled. I mean, it's very simple. Like, so you can like that news. Obviously, there was a damper put on the move in the Carolina Panthers fan base today with the whole Milton Williams situation. Tavian don't do too much. Don't do too much. There was a damper put on the whole mood of the Carolina Panthers fan base after the Milton Williams situation happened. And then, I mean, like an hour later, Trayvon got signed to 3 years for $51 million. And it's just like, yeah, we're excited to have him, and it fills a hole for the team. But it's just a little bit different. Like I said, I'm gonna give him 7 games to see. I'm gonna give him 7 games to see what how he fits in this scheme and what he's able to offer. Like I said, what I love about him, I love the fact that he comes down and tackles. I do. It was a crazy statement. That's why I mean, y'all relax, bro. Y'all chill on me. I think, like I said, I love the fact that he come down and he hits. He's an aggressive safety. His tackling, he does a lot of ankle biting, which is what I told the group chat when we first got him. And I looked at a little bit of film on him, not much. I looked at a little bit of film on him. He does a lot of ankle biting. It's the same shit that Dante Jackson used to do a lot. Same shit Dante Jackson used to do a lot of ankle biting. But he's aggressive. He flies around the field. 3 years, $51 million, and we still need another safety. Now, don't be surprised because I've been seeing Javon Holland's name a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if the Carolina Panthers get a deal done with Javon Holland to pair with Trayvon Marring. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, and to be quite frank, for me, after the deals that we made this year, I think we're going to be solid at that point. At that point, I think that we're going to be A-okay. And everything after that, should we get Javon Holland, everything after that is like playing with house money at that point, in my opinion. Yep, Justin Reed is still out there as well. And that actually, Justin Reed was on my wish list. He was on my free agent wish list. So if we get Holland or if we get Justin Reed, I'll be A-okay. I'll be A-okay. Me personally, I saw Doug was in here earlier. Doug, let me know if I'm wrong. I think you said you gave us a C- for the day or a C+. I think that I would say a B- or a B. I love what we did. I do. Dan Morgan and his front office, as well as the coaching staff, have been abundantly clear on the fact that we're restructuring this defense, and we understand defense was a problem, specifically the run defense, and we're going to get pieces that fit into this scheme that make sure that we don't have the worst defense in NFL history for 2 years in a row. So really, I can only be but so mad because you had a lot of holes on defense to fill. You did, and there's still a lot. You still need another safety. You still need another linebacker or 2. You still need another edge guy, if not 2, because we don't know what Jadeveon Clowney is going to be on this season. And, depending on who you ask, his season was a little underwhelming. Yes, you still have Wanham, whatever the case may be. But I still think you need at least one more edge guy. You need at least one more, if not 2 linebackers, and you need another safety for a fact. That's what you need, hands down, still to this day. But I will say it was a good start. Yeah, he's better than any other safeties on the roster because there's no other safeties on the roster. X is gone, Jordan Fuller's gone, and y'all know how I feel about Damani. I love Damani, but you have Damani, Dunk, and what else? And we already done seen that Dunk is not a full-time starter. We saw that 2 years ago, and I'm a huge Sam Franklin fan. Everybody knows that watches FPFO or that watches Move to Change or that has even communicated with me in person about the Carolina Panthers. Everybody knows I'm a huge Sam Franklin fan, but he's not a starting safety in the NFL. We saw that 2 years ago. B Duke, shout out to you. What's up? B Duke said, I'm not that upset about the Milton Williams situation. Fuck him, we ball. On to the next player. Yeah, I agree. And that's what you saw. I mean, after we get married, I'm not sure in what particular order we go. But I will go to Patrick Jones, 2 years, $20 million. I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot and overreact, but to me, very underwhelming. Very underwhelming, which is why I say you need another one or two pass rushers because Patrick Jones just simply doesn't get the job done for JJ. It doesn't. It feels very, very DJ Wanham-esque. And I say that with all due respect to DJ Wanham because he surprised me for about 3 games, maybe even 4 after he came back. So I say it with all due respect, but it gives DJ Wanham. It does. Update on Jones. Who is Jones? Patrick Jones, two years, 15? 15 million? Did he get so Patrick Jones got 15 million or he got 20? Oh, 20 with okay, got you. So $20 million with potential bonuses and then $15 million like actual contracts. So $7.5 million a year could get to up to $10 million a year, depending on the incentives. And that's per Mike K. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you. So yeah, Patrick Jones doesn't get the job done for me. But it's another guy that we brought in, another guy that adds depth, which is again, for good teams. Matter of fact, let me restart. For bad teams to become good, one of the main foundational pieces, in my opinion, is the ability to have depth. That's a huge problem that the Carolina Panthers have had for the last 5 or 6 years. Lack of depth. And when one guy goes down and that's your starter, you're in for a long, 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 long day. What the Carolina Panthers did today was sure that up a little bit. I need that green. Hey, B Dukes, Greenlaw, he already signed. Greenlaw signed with somebody. Greenlaw signed with somebody. He signed with let me see. Cause matter of fact, I sent it to the group. Oh, this is the wrong group. That makes sense. Denver. Yeah, he already signed. Greenlaw's already gone because that was a guy that I wanted too. Because I was like, okay, well, y'all done great work today. The first couple of hours of tampering, phenomenal work. But like, go get me a crash dummy. Go get me a crash dummy, and that crash dummy would have been Dre Greenlaw. So I feel you on that, Dukes. But it's extremely unfortunate because that would have been a linebacker that I wanted. That would have been one of the two that I wanted, probably Dre Greenlaw. But shit happens. Shit happens. We just got to roll with the punches and move on, bro. Like, I mean, there are 31 other teams along with the Carolina Panthers that are chasing a lot of these free agents. And unfortunately, a lot of those 31 other teams have the advantage over the Carolina Panthers that they're just a lot more competitive. They're just a lot more what's the word that I'm looking for? Competent. Their owner is just a lot more offhand or hands off rather. So, there's a couple of things working against us, but that's just how it goes for sure. Breaking, is that facts? Can we confirm that? Chauncey? Chauncey, can we confirm that? Can you name your source or are you trolling? Can you name your source or are you trolling? Oh, Bloody said that happened a couple of hours ago. So what does Shy Tuttle's new deal look like? I didn't even know he took a hit. I didn't know he took a hit for us. I didn't see that. Okay, I see. Panthers per Joe Person. Panthers land 2 defensive tackles today, but Shy Tuttle is sticking around. North Carolina native agreed to take a $3.5 million pay cut and will make $3 million per sources. Also mentioned Miles Sanders as a potential pay cut candidate. That's a conversation that we'll have as well, but we won't have it tonight. We won't have it tonight, but that's a name that y'all need to be looking at and focusing on. Because I mean, honestly, I don't know where you go at running back unless you decide to go draft another one. Because if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Warren already signed his deal. Najee Harris just signed with the Los Angeles Chargers. That's breaking news. Officially official. Officially official. Najee Harris just signed with the Los Angeles Chargers 1 year deal worth up to $9.25 million per Adam Schefter and Phil Yates. So yeah, Miles Sanders, that's a name everybody needs to have their eye on because unfortunately our hands are tied and we're in a very, very tough situation with Jonathan Brooks potentially being out for the entire 2025-2026 season. And Miles Sanders is already under contract, and there would be nothing to tell him, hey nigga, unfortunately, you're just not worth what we paid you. And if you want anything to do with this team going forward, and if you want to be competitive, you're going to take a pay cut. It's very, very simple. But in my opinion, the last game of the season that we saw from Miles Sanders was one of his best games as a Carolina Panther. And I don't think that you just let him walk. I don't think that you just cut him, especially with some of the names that have already come off the board, running back free agents. And then another guy, I believe he was on my wish list or he was an honorable mention, but Javonte Williams signed with Dallas, running back from Denver. Graduated from, well, don't even know if he graduated, but attended UNC. So it would have been that hometown kid feel that the Carolina Panthers love going with, but he went over to Dallas already. So that's three running backs off the board with Warren, Najee, and Javonte Williams. So yeah, I think that Terrence. I know how we feel about him overall. I know how most fans feel about Miles Sanders, but unfortunately, like realistically, your hands are tied. And what do you do? What do you do? Um, So after the Patrick Jones shit, which again I'm not too happy about, that brings the grade down a little bit because I'm skeptical. But after that, these were the moves. I love these moves right here. I love these moves right here. So up to this point, like in the day, I'm kind of hesitant, right? Because we get Trayvon Merring, I'm hesitant. Patrick Jones, I'm unmoved. Um, J.C. Horn gets $100 million. I'm a little skeptical. So overall for the day at this point, I don't know how I'm feeling quite yet. But then we go get Bobby Brown the third, 3 for 21. And I think a lot of these contracts, the way I wrote them down, is up to. So correct me if I'm wrong and y'all know the actual numbers. Correct me if I'm wrong and if y'all know the actual numbers, let me know the actual numbers. But 3 for 21 is what I have for Bobby Brown. That is a steal. My bad. I had to get my charger. We were about to go out of here. My apologies. My apologies. We were about to go out of here. I had to get my charger. My fault. Love the Bobby Brown deal. Love the Bobby Brown deal. He's a dog. And I was telling the guys in the group chat, I was telling the guys that I was disappointed that we didn't get Puna Ford. I was disappointed that we didn't get Puna Ford, but I'm not gonna lie to you, Bobby Brown the third, he's one of them ones. Bobby Brown the third is one of them ones, and to pair him with DB and Ashawn, I'm going to say this with all due respect, and y'all don't try and take my words out of context. And y'all don't, matter of fact, I don't even know if I want to say it. I don't even want to know if I want to say it, and that's gonna get my co-host and my producer tell me I don't stand on business, but I don't even know if I want to say it. Actually, I will say it just because, like, why not? It's mood to change, so I'll say it. Bobby Brown the third. If you couldn't get Milton Williams, Bobby Brown the third, that's a safe alternate. It's a good alternative. It's a good alternative. If Milton Williams was who you were going to push your chips in all the way, put your chips on. That was the guy you were going with. And you were going to put your dick on the table for him, and he snaked you, that's no problem. We'll go get Bobby Brown the third as a depth piece, and then we'll go get bro from Kansas City. What's his name? Wharton? Tershawn Wharton? Yeah, we'll go get him. 3 for 45. Love it. Love the deal. Tavian, I see you in the chat. Tavian said he has the perfect solution for everybody that doesn't want Miles Sanders or that feels a way about Miles Sanders. He said he got a perfect solution. Cam Scatterboo. I'm not mad at it. I don't know how high Scatterboo goes because I think he's one of the better running backs in the draft. So I don't know. I don't know how high he goes. But if we're looking at, round 3, if we're looking at round 3, and you have the ability to go get Scatterboo in round 3, he's one of them ones. He's one of them ones, and he's one of the guys that I believe his game will translate and transfer to the NFL relatively well. My bad, Terrence. My fault. It be the T. And then I got y'all as admin, and so the letters are blue and it blends in with the navy, and this is my old prescription. So my fault, Terrence. That was Terrence's solution. My fault. Matter of fact, that should have registered in my head because you get the dick eating that nigga anyway. So that's on me. That's my fault. I should have known that. QJ said Cam Scatterboo is Vanilla Lynch. And to be quite frank, I just don't know if you're not wrong in your assessment. Because he's one of them ones. And I'm going to just let y'all know right now for Panthers fans only listeners and viewers, if that happens, Terrence is probably going to do something on himself that's typically only caused by a sexual act. Let's say that. Should the Carolina Panthers get Cam Scatterboo, bro gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody know right now. He gonna act like he's CMC reincarnated. Dylan, I am our best reader, bro. Like they're gonna shit on me just because like they that's how they do. But I am our best reader for sure. That's why they never want to read on Cam. That's why I'm always reading the reports and the long ass articles and all of that shit. But just know, should we get Cam Scatterboo, Terrence is gonna ejaculate all over himself unprovoked just by reading the news, just by hearing the draft pick. And forgive me if we have anybody that's under the age of 16 watching this show and your parents are around. My apologies. I shouldn't have said it. I did very, very well the first time in describing it the way I wanted to. But hey, unfortunately, this is the G2S network after dark. So tell them to forgive me. Tell them to forgive me. Tell them to allow you to keep watching because I feel like I've done a phenomenal job with it up until this point. Tell them to let you keep watching. My apologies, Mom. My apologies, Pops. I shouldn't have said that. I'm wrong. Hey, Tavian, I'm wrong. Because I knew he was going to get the capping in the chat. Just let me know if I'm wrong and let me know if I'm capped out. What is he going to do? How's he going to act? He know. Tavian, you know. Dylan, you know too. You know too. You know how he going to act if we sign him. That nigga might box a Scatterboo jersey as soon as we call his name. He might go customize one on NFL Shop. I know how Terrence will act if we go get him. If we got Arch, if we if we got Scatterboo this year and we got Arch next year, you wouldn't be able to tell Terrence shit. They wouldn't even have to. They wouldn't even have to play a game. They wouldn't even have to play a game. Facts, Dylan. Dylan crazy as hell. Facts. Let me go to the signings. My fault. I got sidetracked. Hey, shout out everybody in the chat, man. Shout out everybody that's watching the stream, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in with us. I know it's kind of late. I'll be up around this time anyway, so you know. This is cool for me. If y'all rocking with me, I'm rocking with y'all. I'm good to go. We locked in. First day of legal tampering. We're on an hour and 50 minutes in so far. I'm good. I got time. I got time if y'all got time. I got time if y'all got time. We can go through it. We can break it down, and we can talk about everything. I got time if y'all got time, and I got my notes queued and ready to go. Because there's another conversation that we got to have too about the wide receiver one room. Actually, do y'all want to? Y'all let me know. Y'all want to stay on the free agent track and just getting my reactions with that, or do y'all want to go to the wide receiver conversation and then circle back to the free agents and how we wrapped up today? Y'all let me know. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. I want to just wrap it. Let's just wrap up the free agent day one today. So we go get Bobby for 3 for 21. And then we get Tershawn Wharton. I think this is a phenomenal deal. I think he's a great piece to add to that line. Again, another rotational piece. Probably will end up being the starter with DB. But then again, Ashawn put a lot of great film out there last year. So I don't know. I don't know. It's actually that's going to be a tough decision for EJ and them to make. It really is. It really is. That's going to be a tough decision for them to make. Julian, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. But just know when I seen that report and I saw that they went and got Devontae, I said, oh, okay. I see how this is going. And unfortunately, like, do I think another aging wide receiver is the first answer that we want to go with? I don't know. I don't know if that fits like what we're trying to build in Carolina. But just know the one that we got currently rostered, he's a dog, and he is officially coming back per his words. And the one that we're mentioning and talking about right now, that's a Triple Crown winner. But again, let me just wrap up the free agent talk, and we'll come back to it. I promise. Tershawn Wharton, I think he's a dog, bro. I think he's a dog. If you go back and look at the Super Bowl, and you look at the Kansas City Chiefs defense and offense and just the team overall as a whole, you'll see a lot of niggas quit. You'll see a lot of niggas quit in the Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs against Philly last month. A lot of niggas quit. Trayvon Wharton was not one of those people. Excuse me, Trayshawn, my bad. We got a Trayvon Merring and Trayshawn Wharton. Trayshawn Wharton was not one of those people. He wasn't. He just simply wasn't. I like a defensive tackle or nose guard, whatever you want to classify him as. I like when they have big motors. I like when they can stop the run, and I like when they can rush the quarterback. We have a hybrid that can kind of do both with Ashawn. Derek Brown leaves a little bit to be desired in the pass rush game. Trayshawn Wharton can do it all. He can do it all. He has a high motor. He's a dog. He plays with emotion. He seems to be a good locker room guy. Again, that's just an assumption that I've made just based on what I've seen. Don't know that to be 100% the case. He could come into Carolina and fuck everything off. He could. I just don't believe that that's going to be the case. I don't. But I personally love this. Again, the first half of the day, I'm extremely skeptical because it's looking very, very similar to Carolina Panthers tampering sessions of the past. But then we go Bobby, then we go Trayshawn, and then we bring back Mike. The real Mike Jack, nigga. The real Mike Jack. Where's Terrence at? Because I know Terrence about to get the hating soon. I know Terrence is, but I'm getting my Mike Jackson jersey this year. As a matter of fact, what I'm probably going to do, I need to make sure and confirm that he's going to be number 2 again this year. But I might just go ahead and buy my shit tomorrow, my Mike Jackson jersey. In blue, preferably. Number 2 in blue. Mike Jackson, preferably. Process Blue specifically. Process Blue specifically. And if y'all watch FPFO at all, y'all know I love Mike Jackson. Excuse me. There were moments, of course, there were moments last year where he left a little to be desired. At times, a lot to be desired. But I think that was a defense as a whole. And when you give a quarterback 4, 5, 6 seconds to sit back, pat the football, check and see what his girl is doing, make sure his baby is all right, and then deliver a pass, more times than not, a cornerback is going to get torched. And I think oftentimes that's what happened with Mike Jackson last year. But the physicality he brings, the emotion he brings, the dog mentality he brings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mike Jackson was a piece we had to have, and I love the fact that you shore up both sides. So even if we decide not to go cornerback in a draft, which I think would be a significant misstep, but even if we don't, we still got Mike Jackson on the other side of JC, and we still got a young cornerback in Shaw Smith-Wade who showed improvement last year. Now, is he going to play outside? Ideally not. We don't want to see Shaw play outside, right? And I don't believe that the Carolina Panthers won't at least go get one cornerback that they can kind of build up and mold into what they want him to become, right? Looking at around 3, 4, 5 pick probably, in my opinion, just based on what I believe the board will look like. I think we'll add more depth. But what fixes it, or what this signing fixes, in my opinion, is the fact that you don't need another starting cornerback, because Mike Jackson already proved last year that he can start opposite of J.C. Horn and be A-OK. That's what Mike Jackson proved last year. You need motors like Mike Jackson on your team. You need motors like that. You do. You need motors like Trayshawn Wharton on your team. You need dogs and demons. I don't know how many day ones we got in the chat right now, but if y'all remember, there was an episode literally, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, where I think we had just lost a game, and like we coined the phrase dogs and demons, because the Carolina Panthers over the past 5 or 6 years have had a lack of dogs and demons. They have. Mike Jackson fits that mold. And he may not be the best cornerback, he may not be the most technically sound, his mechanics might not always be flawless, he may not be the fastest, but what I know for a fact is when shit hits the fan and it's time to slide about something, he coming. He coming, and he coming with malicious intent, for sure. Bloody said Trayshawn is definitely coming in and taking Ashawn's job. I think so too. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how this coaching staff plays. I don't know if they show favoritism. I don't know if they do that kind of stuff. So I don't know. But I think when you give a contract like you gave Trayshawn, then I think that Ashawn, yeah, buddy, you have to come off the bench, unfortunately. And that's no problem. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. For us to go get a guy that can replace our starter of last year, that's no problem. That's a great feeling. That's a great feeling. Let me go through this a little bit. Let me go through the chat. My fault. I didn't mean to abandon y'all. Let me go through the chat a little bit. Look at Terrence talking about now. If we get Arch, should we get in contact with Stephon Diggs? Need Cup in Carolina. Okay, we about to hit that. We about to touch our wide receiver ones. Y'all got time, bro? Y'all got time? I'm gonna shoot for 10:30, 10:45. I think that's very, very doable. I need to wrap this shit up anyway. He did tear it down. I know I'm breathing heavy as fuck in the mic. My fault. I listened to the playback last week. I was like, damn, that mic got me breathing crazy. The Raccoon King. Who B Dukes, who is the Raccoon King? What the fuck? Where do we go? How do we get there? Buddy said Ashawn was nice, but Trayshawn was part of one of the best run defenses in the NFL last season, and we need that. That's facts. Got to keep dog. Lonnie Johnson went to the Raiders. Shout out to Lonnie Johnson, man. I'm glad he got a contract elsewhere. Holy get. The raccoon. Yeah, we're gonna have a matter of fact, y'all want to have a conversation about the wide receiver room, bro. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I saw another fucking video of Xavier Leggett riding a horse, and to be honest, the fucking gimmick is up, nigga. The gimmick is up. Give it a break. I need the next video that I see of Xavier Leggett. I need to see that nigga doing some rehab and catching some balls on the jug machine. Pause. That's the next video I need to see from that nigga. The whole cowboy persona and act is great. It's phenomenal. It opens him up to a completely different market when you talk about different off the field opportunities and stuff like that. Real true country boy. You know what I'm saying? Love it for him. But the next video I need to see of that nigga is Xavier Leggett is him catching some footballs off the jug machine and rehabbing his ankle and his wrist. Those are the next videos that I need to see. Because I done seen about 3 or 4 videos just this offseason alone of that nigga riding horseback damn near bare ass. Because the nigga don't never wear no shirt when I see him riding these horses. Pause. This whole conversation sounds crazy. But I'm just telling y'all, the next video that I see of Xavier Leggett needs to be of him rehabbing one of them extremities and him on that damn jugs machine. The cowboy shit is cute. Do that shit for the women and the kids, nigga. Do that for the women and the kids. It's time to get the business, twin. And I say all of that because I don't really know what he's capable of doing, what he's able to do right now. But I done seen multiple athletes, specifically NFL players, when they suffer injury and they go through surgery, whatever the case may be, them videos of that rehab start to kick in. Not riding shirtless on a damn horse. So I'm trying to be and I'm going to continue to be, but it's really, really testing my patience. But I'm trying my best. Because we went all in on XL for real. Our all in last year was trading up one spot into the first round to go get a receiver that had minimal film. And then he proceeded this season to be a tad bit underwhelming and to deal with a couple of more injuries than we really want to deal with. So unfortunately for JJ, it's not time for play and time for you to be riding horses every time I see you on social media and every time I see a video. It's not. QJ said one more drop pass nigga can ride dollar bill out of Charlotte. And to be quite frank, I don't know if I'm necessarily mad at that take. Cool, do what you do in the offseason, whatever the case may be. But, at some point or another, we got to get to business, nigga. We got to get to business. We can't. I personally just can't keep seeing it because it'll drive me insane. I'm telling you, it'll drive me insane. And y'all know how I get when I have my crash out moments, and I try to minimize them. I try not to talk crazy about people personally, and judge what they do off the field. I think that was something that we probably had a problem with as a unit 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe even 2.5 years ago. But I think over the past year and a half, 2 years, we've done a very, very conscious or given a very, very strong conscious effort to stop doing that. But then when you just parade it in my face and I have to just think back to the drop passes and think back to the lost games or game, rather, and I see you riding a horse and not rehabbing and not with Route God and not on a jugs machine, I personally begin to get frustrated and my patience begins to wear thin. But again, he was a rookie last year, so I'm shooting him bail and I'm gonna give him time. But I'm just letting y'all know where I'm at right now. That's just where I'm at right now. I'm just being honest. Just being honest. Off of that, it seems to be the tone within the fan base that the Carolina Panthers need a true wide receiver one. Do I believe personally that Xavier Leggett has the ability to be a true wide receiver one. Absolutely. Because when you go look at the statistics, when you go look at the film, when you go look at the win rate, when you go look at the way he runs his routes and the way he wins, as efficiently as he wins, as fast as he wins, right? You can kind of deal with it and you can kind of see, like, okay, this guy has the chance to be something special. You can see that. But the tonality within the fan base, which I don't knock and I don't necessarily disagree with, is the fact that the Carolina Panthers need a true wide receiver one. And we'll go through a couple of names. Y'all can throw some names out there as well. But we'll go through a couple of names that are still available that I believe can get you at least, a year or two. A year or two would be max, which obviously we want a guy that we can bring in like a DK Metcalf that we can give 3 or 4 years, whatever the case may be. I don't necessarily believe that T. Higgins is totally off the table for the Carolina Panthers. I don't think, honestly, just the way this front office has talked throughout the offseason up to this point, just based on their actions and how aggressive they were today alone, just based on the reports that I was seeing, things of that nature, that I'm sure y'all all saw as well, and how aggressive they were prepared and determined to be during this period. I don't think anybody is off the table based on what we've been seeing. I don't think anybody's off the table. I don't necessarily believe that T. Higgins is off the table. I think we could still make a deal for T. Higgins, and I think really just based on how everything has transpired, that's obviously going to be the best wide receiver that's available right now up to this point. T. Higgins is the best available wide receiver, and technically he's not even really available. However, we all know that T. Higgins is available. Yeah, Lonnie Johnson to the Raiders. I saw that. Lonnie Johnson to the Raiders again. Shout out to Lonnie Johnson because, he's been a guy that hasn't really gotten a true opportunity. And I think with him going to the Raiders, he may get an opportunity to, actually develop and become an everyday player, every down player. So shout out to bro. Shout out to bro. No hate at all from me. Do you give? Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. That's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I wanted to see and kind of feel where y'all was at. Do you give T. Higgins DK Metcalf money? QJ, I want to know what you got to say. I want to know your answer. The question currently in X, the X chat. I want to see the X chat pop a little bit too. Shout out to everybody in the YouTube comments though. Appreciate the love and support, and appreciate everybody watching. I want to know what y'all think. Are y'all comfortable with giving giving T. Higgins DK Metcalf money? QJ said yeah. QJ said yeah. I think that again, I started this stream off by saying it's hard for me to fathom paying a wide receiver $30+ million. That's not Jetta, CD, Jamar, guys of that tier. But again, like I mentioned earlier in the stream as well, like Dunk says, you got to pay a trash tax. So, I'm not 100% convinced that if the opportunity presented itself and T. Higgins, a deal was in place with Cincinnati, and the last step of that deal was to get T. Higgins under contract for 3, 4, 5 years at $31 million a year. I don't know that the Carolina Panthers don't try and make that happen. I think it all depends on what the Cincinnati Bengals are asking for him. And right now, I think the price is just too high. Because, this has been a conversation for the last year straight that they've been talking about them potentially trading T. Higgins. Bloody said, I'm not comfortable with giving T. Higgins $30 million. Well, where I would challenge you at, Bloody, and this is kind of what happens when you get in these tight situations, because niggas that really shouldn't be fucking off the market, fuck off the market. Right? So I don't believe that DK Metcalf is a $30 million a year receiver. I don't. And when I saw that contract, I kind of slept a little bit better knowing that the Carolina Panthers didn't make that decision, because I know that he's a crash out, and at times it's not just him being a crash out on the field, because I love that, but he'll be a crash out and a detriment to your team and the locker room. We already had that issue with Deontay Johnson. We don't need it again, because we saw how it fucked with Bryce mentally, if we're just having an honest conversation. So we don't need that again. And a $30 million a year hit for a receiver that is tier, I'll be respectful and say 1B, 1C, somewhere in that range. Teetering on, tier 2. $30 million is a lot of fucking money, bro. That's a lot of bread. That's a lot of bread. So I was going with that, because Bloody, I saw you comment and say you're not comfortable with giving T. Higgins $30 million. Unfortunately, DK fucked off the market. And the Pittsburgh Steelers were willing to do that because they had the money to do so, and that's how they wanted to build their team. They were willing to give him $30 million a year. So now if you're T. Higgins, that conversation, it gets a little different for real, because if I'm T. Higgins, I don't 100% know if I'm not sitting in the room thinking that I'm better than DK Metcalf, to be quite frank. If we just having an honest conversation, I don't know. DK Metcalf, I mean, he's a good receiver. He's a big body. He plays extremely hard when he does. But I'm not going to sit here and say that DK Metcalf is miles ahead of T. Higgins. I'm not, because even if we're having a conversation and we're saying T. Higgins is on the same level as DK Metcalf, that's still at least $30 million a year that you got to pay him. So, yeah, DK in Pittsburgh fucked off the wide receiver 1 market as it pertains to T. Higgins, right? But then when we dive a little bit deeper into it, we can have a deeper conversation and look at some of the guys that are still available. What are y'all doing for Kupp? Because I think it's abundantly clear that, the Rams want nothing to do with them. And I think that they said, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know who officially reported, it was either Rappaport or Schefter, but I think the report came out this evening that the Los Angeles Rams were going to move on from Cooper Kupp, I think at the beginning of the new league year, unless a trade came up, in which case they will obviously entertain the idea of a deal. But if I'm any team in the NFL, the only reason why I would trade for Cooper Kupp is to make, have him as a hostage. But if you want to play the risk game and just let him hit the market, I don't see why you don't hit him, let him hit the market. But that's a name that I would definitely keep my eye on for sure. That's a name I would keep my name, or that's a name I'll keep my eye on for sure. It's Cooper Kupp. He doesn't, and before y'all go the ranting and raving, he doesn't solve your wide receiver 1 problem, because I think most people, as it pertains to this fan base, most people are looking for a guy that can take the top off of the defense, right? We want speed. Excuse me. We want speed, right? So I understand why people would be hesitant in that situation, but there are still names out there. Stephon Diggs is another name. I saw his name get mentioned earlier. I don't know who it was from. Maybe it was QJ. I'm not 100% sure. But Stephon Diggs is another name that you kind of got to keep your eyes on as well. Because, again, I mean, these guys are they're good receivers. Like, yeah, are they older? Yeah. Have they dealt with some injuries? Yeah. But if you want to add depth to that wide receiver room, then that might be a decision that you have to make. I think that me personally, I would just be extremely frustrated if we're going into year 3 of Bryce Young, and we're going into year 3 of Bryce Young with Adam Thielen being wide receiver 1 yet again. And unfortunately, with the way that this wide receiver room is designed right now, based on what we saw from a production standpoint, Adam Thielen would yet again be wide receiver 1. And I would be extremely frustrated if that was the case. I would be extremely frustrated if that was the case. And there are not a lot of wide receivers in this year's draft that are going to get you where you want to be as it pertains to being closer to a true wide receiver one. There's just not. That's just the reality of the situation. I believe that this is probably one of the worst wide receiver draft classes that we've seen in probably like the last decade for real. Because there's not much talent and there's not many high ceilings. Again, it's just my opinion. So, however you value that, you take it at face value. But it's just my opinion. But I'm telling you, I believe that this is one of the least talented wide receiver classes that we've seen probably in the last decade or so. I do. That's just my true belief. So I mean, you have to have those conversations. If you especially if you don't believe that you're going to get Tet. Especially if you don't believe that you're going to get Tet. Now, obviously, the board could play out in your favor on draft night, you know. So you could potentially run the risk of jumping the gun if you go get a Diggs or if you go get a Cup or if you go get a DeAndre Hopkins, right? You run that risk. But, I mean, at the same time, it never hurt nobody to have too many receivers. Especially when you only have, if I'm not mistaken, what do we have? Like only 4 receivers rostered right now? I think the Carolina Panthers only have 4 wide receivers rostered right now. Let me go confirm that. Let me go confirm that. Give me 1 second. Because I know David Moore is a free agent. They didn't bring him back yet. And we heard the rumblings of Darius Slayton, which I believe was going to be the 5th wide receiver. I don't even know how I will find this. But I believe we only have 4 wide receivers. I believe we only have 4 wide receivers, if I'm not mistaken. Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, and Adam Thielen being the top 3. That group just doesn't get it done. That group just doesn't get it done. Especially if you don't go out and get Evan Ingram. Now, if you get Evan Ingram, you know, the conversation kind of changes because Evan Ingram is a pass-catching tight end. We saw what he was able to do in Jacksonville. We've seen what he's been able to do consistently rather, over the course of his career. So Evan Ingram would kind of change the situation. It still doesn't give you a wide receiver 1, but it makes your pass-catching rooms look a lot better. Yeah, Darius Slayton. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Darius Slayton re-signed with the Giants. So he's off the table. 3 years. QJ said 3 years, $52 million for Cup. I want to know what y'all think. 3 years, $52 million for Cup. What is that? A little over $17 million a year, if I'm not mistaken. $17.3 million a year. I don't know, bro. I would have to think about that because, to be honest, I don't even know if I personally don't know if I'm willing to give Cooper Kupp a 3-year deal. I don't know if I'm willing to give Cooper Kupp a 3-year deal. I don't know if I'm willing to do that. That's a significant amount of time. And, you know, I don't know how productive Cooper Kupp will continue to be. Like, did he have some pop games last year? Absolutely. But was it abundantly clear that he's lost a step over the last year and a half? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, 3 years is heavy, bro. 3 years is heavy. Like maybe two for 30. I might be doing 2 for 30, but even if we're talking about 34 to 34 and a half to 35, that's still a little pricey for me for Cooper Kupp. It is. It is. And that's really the case with all of these guys. Like this is the thing. And this is kind of why you guys have still been seeing T. Higgins' name pop up so much. Is because like the lack of talent in the NFL draft this year, like it's not like it was last year. Last year was so deep with wide receiver talent that if we were in the same position this year as it pertains to a talent standpoint with the 2025 draft class, I believe we'll be A-okay because we would just go get a young guy, give him time to develop, continue to cook off of Coker, XL, and Thielen, let the young guy develop, and then just see where you're at after that. but you don't have the opportunity and the potential to do that this year, bro. There's no talent. There's no real talent in the wide receiver class room this year. There's not. There's not, right? So then you have to have these uncomfortable conversations. Chris Godwin re-signed with the Bucks, so he's off the table. Stephon Diggs coming off a torn ACL. That would make me extremely hesitant, but I wouldn't do anything more than a 1 year, maybe a 2 year max deal with the potential to opt out or organizational opt out after year two, or an option, organizational option after year two, or after year one rather, for Stephon Diggs. Um, but again, them numbers, I don't know what these guys are going to be asking for, bro. I don't know what these guys are going to be asking for, but you got Diggs available. You have Cup that is going to become available. Keenan Allen, not 100% sold. I think he's a great receiver, but the injury history gives me pause for cause, or cause for pause rather. Amari Cooper, he's a shell of himself of what he used to be. Not 100% sold on that. Brandon Cooks, absolutely not. Deontay Johnson, fuck no. Tyler Lockett, yeah, he has the history. He has the history, but he doesn't get you closer to a wide receiver one. And then Mike Williams and DeAndre Hopkins kind of rounding off that list. Mike Williams, absolutely not. And DeAndre Hopkins, he's old. He's old. So the Carolina Panthers, all of that being said, when we're having a wide receiver conversation, the Carolina Panthers are in a very, very tough position. They're in a very, very, very tough situation. They are. They are. Very, very tough position, very, very tough situation overall, because there's no real talent in the draft class this year. And it's slim pickings with what's available on the free agent market right now. And I would assume a lot of these guys are going to be asking for a good chunk of change. And unfortunately, yet again, the Carolina Panthers aren't really necessarily in a position to be given a 32, 33, 34-year-old wide receiver anything upwards of $18.5 to $19 million a year. And that even would be a little, strenuous based on what I believe our cap situation is, and just based on what the current situation is. It would. We really got to have a conversation. Does Dan Morgan believe in Bryce? These other teams with young quarterbacks are giving their quarterbacks with legit. I don't necessarily think. I don't. Well, what did Terrence say? I think he believes in Bryce, but he got the team. We had too many spots. Yeah, I agree with that stance more so than challenging Dan Morgan's belief in Bryce Young. I don't think that what we're seeing right now at this point, now maybe last offseason, but even last offseason, they still took a chance. They still took a chance on Xavier Legette. That was kind of like him showing the faith that he had in him right there. Now, also, you could take the stance that was kind of like a prove it year for Bryce Young, because this front office and the coaching staff was extremely hesitant on Bryce Young. I want to say probably all the way up to week 12. I think everybody was still kind of in a gray area with Bryce Young as it pertains to the organization, all the way up until week 12. Now I believe that there's full trust and commitment to Bryce Young going forward. And I don't believe that the lack of activity as it pertains to wide receivers and obtaining wide receiver talent, I don't believe that that's any indication that Dan Morgan doesn't trust Bryce Young or doesn't believe in him. I just think that that talent right now is extremely scarce. I think that the market for wide receivers right now is higher than it's ever been. And I think that when you have a situation like we currently have, where you have so many holes to fill on both sides of the football, but particularly defense, you kind of have to tread lightly, and you have to kind of move relatively conservative as it pertains to this kind of situation. But all of that being said, if you want a true wide receiver one, you're gonna have to go get T. Higgins if you want one for the duration of Bryce Young's rookie contract. Like, that's just the reality. That's really the only wide receiver one right now, if you're looking at this offseason, that is available and that you can potentially obtain. And it would have to be via trade, obviously. So I don't know. Facts, Terrence. And we did take a chance on Deontay Johnson. Because again, like I said, there was a great area with Bryce Young, and this organization didn't believe in him. I think this organization, like, they didn't really necessarily lead on as much as I believe it was, but I think that this organization was extremely skeptical of Bryce Young and really, really second guessing their decision to draft him number one overall 2 years ago. I really do. I really do. And I think that they did every single thing in their power to give Bryce Young every opportunity to be successful. And I think when he got benched after week 2 or 3, whenever that was, I think that shit was a wrap. I really do. I really do. And y'all remember the conversations that were being had. A lot of y'all don't want to admit it because everybody wants to see, like, now that it panned out well, things of that nature. Everybody wants it to seem like they have been rocking with Bryce the whole time or whatever the case may be, and that they trusted Bryce the whole. That wasn't the case, bro. That was not the case. A lot of y'all were off the Bryce bandwagon, including myself. A lot of y'all were second guessing the pick. A lot of y'all thought, we're looking at trade market value for Bryce Young. We were. So I think that the organization did a good job at trying to get the guys around him and trying to help him be successful and trying to find that wide receiver one. Unfortunately, Deontay Johnson was just a fuck off. And Xavier Legette just simply didn't pan out to what we needed him to be and to show us that he could be that wide receiver one, which now puts you in a position where you have to feel like you got to go get a true wide receiver one, an undoubtable wide receiver one, and in which case that would only be T. Higgins. Which, again, DK put us in a very tough position. Not even DK, because again, pro athlete, and I think they should all get in money, and their representation did a phenomenal job. Not even DK. The Pittsburgh Steelers put everybody that's in the market for a wide receiver in a tough position if they were looking at T. Higgins. And then you would off rip, if we're talking about wide receiver ones, and of course this is going to be subjective, which everything is when you're talking about a talent standpoint, but you would have to go check Brandon Ayuk again too. You would. But the thing about that is Brandon Ayuk is coming off an injury as well. And Brandon Ayuk's contract ain't the lightest neither. That shit is heavy as hell too. And if I got to pick between Brandon Ayuk and T. Higgins, I mean, I don't even know if I need to say it, but I'm damn sure picking T. Higgins. Let's go look at Ayuk's contract. Let's go look at Ayuk's contract. 4 years, $120 million. He's making the same thing as DK. So guys that are in that tier, right? We're talking about guys that are in that tier, the same tier as DK and Brandon Ayuk, which I believe those guys are in the same tier, right? We're looking at having to spend a guaranteed $30 million a year. It's just gonna have to happen, bro. Unfortunately, it just has to happen. Average salary $30 million a year, the $23 million signing bonus, free agent after 2029. So I mean, if you wanted to make a play for Brandon Ayuk, you could. That would give you your wide receiver one that you're so desperately looking for at least the duration of the remainder of Bryce Young's rookie contract. That's a play. That's a play. I just don't know if it's the right one. I just don't know if it's the right one. QJ said, "Yeah, we might have to draft Tech at 8." Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's why I'm saying, like, we have to have these conversations. They're uncomfortable. But that's just the reality. That's just the reality. They're extremely uncomfortable, but that's just the reality. Like, you're gonna have to pay top dollar for a guy like T. Higgins. You are. You're gonna have to pay top dollar for a guy like a Brandon Ayuk. Like, you see it. So, like, if the 49ers are saying, yeah, nigga, we want a first, or yeah, we want a second, multiple seconds, whatever the case may be, unfortunately, with the Carolina Panthers and with the situation and position they're currently in, that's something that has to be considered if they don't believe that they can get Tech uh, at 8. That's just the reality. That's just the reality. Let me read the chat one more time before we wrap up, man. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, for sure. If you haven't already, make sure to follow the social media. As you see, is on the bottom of the screen. You can tap in with us, on all of those platforms. Tap in with us on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube and you're currently not subscribed, go ahead and like and comment and subscribe. We got a lot of big things coming up. I feel like I say that every single time, I'm in front of a camera as it pertains to For Panthers Fans Only and Move the Chains and just the G2S network overall. I say that all the time. And to be honest, I don't necessarily know if we're disappointed up to this point. And with what we got coming up on March 14th, and what we have coming up this summer, and some of the things and conversations that we've been having, just trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me. So yeah, all of that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and if you're on X, turn that bell notification on too. There's no reason why the bell notification doesn't need to be on, especially this particular week. Y'all aren't gonna want to miss what we have to offer, bro, and what we're planning. You're not. Terrence, I need clarity. T isn't worth what? Oh, QJ says, should we give up the 8th pick for T Higgins? Fuck no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Bryce Young showed last year with a competent run game, a solid offensive line, and receivers that can catch the football. Bryce Young showed that he can get the job done and put you in constant positions to win football games. That's what Bryce Young showed us last year. So, if the Cincinnati Bengals even thought about asking us for number 8 for T Higgins, no, sir. Not happening. We don't even have to finish that conversation because I would hang up the phone so fast they would have thought that the damn grid was under attack. Ayuk is coming off a torn ACL and getting that big ass back. Yeah, that's true, bloody, and that that's another conversation that we got to have. Another conversation. So that's why I said, like, the receiver market right now is so scarce. It's just very, very difficult and very, very hard to find that wide receiver one talent that you're looking for, bro. It is. And unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers have put themselves in a situation where they might just have to, work with what they got. They might just have to work with what they got, and Bryce Young is just going to have to continue to show us that he's a dog. Again, unless Tet falls to us, which is a possibility, but who knows? Who knows? But yeah, man, that's all I got. That's all I got in me, bro. That's all I got in me. I didn't even plan going this long. For real. I didn't even plan going this long, but I saw people continue to join. I saw the numbers stay the same. Nobody was really leaving. So I hope that y'all enjoyed, some perspective, some of the content, etc. I definitely appreciate all the engagement. That makes time really just fly by because I feel like I'm able to have a conversation with y'all and like we're just conversing. So extremely grateful for that. Make sure to tap in with us on social media, bro. I can't stress this enough. Make sure to tap in with us on social media. We have big news coming on Thursday, and we have even bigger news that I'm even more excited about on Friday. But just trust me when I tell you, you need to be tapped in with us on social media because y'all don't want to miss what we have to offer. We're trying to reset the fan culture in Carolina, and I think that we built a solid foundation, and now we're just trying to go completely up and out of here. So make sure to tap in with us on social media. If you're watching on YouTube right now, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. If you're watching on X, make sure to follow. Shout out to everybody that was watching on Twitch as well. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody engaging. for Panthers Fan Only Podcast Season 5. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Go ahead and turn the bell notification on if you're on YouTube so you don't miss that drop. As far as these lives go and things of that nature, y'all could see me again. Again at the end of this week, y'all could see me again tomorrow if we make something pop. I don't know. The best thing to do is just to go to the YouTube channel at the G2S Network right now. Subscribe, turn that bell notification on. If you're watching on X, do the same thing. Turn the bell notification on so you're notified when we go live and when we do these type of events. Should I go live again this week? I'm probably gonna try and see if Terrence and Tavian want to join this week and kind of, we'll start easing back into our content and us releasing and doing things like that. But again, at the very, very least, March 18th, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be back on YouTube and all DSPs. For Panthers Fans Only, Season 5 will be back. And March 14th, all I can say is mark your calendar and make sure that you're tapped in with what we got going on social media. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Talk to y'all very, very soon. I'm out of here.